Çekim's grandmother. Kenbish, they called her. Not this one. For she'd survived 3 husbands' deaths and 4 winters when she should have starved. Tightened her grip on his mouth. Not from fear that he'd cry out. From fear that he'd try to run down and die with them. He wanted to. Gods, how he wanted to. But her fingers were iron, and her eyes held a command, older than words. Live, bear witness, remember. So he watched. He watched his brothers, Ogadai and Jochi, die trying to protect the horse herd. He watched his uncles, Kabul and Jelmi, dragged behind horses until their bodies came apart. He watched his aunt, Borte, who used to sing songs that made children laugh, violated by 5 men in sequence before they cut her throat. He watched cousins whose names he'd forget in nightmares. Batu, Monkey, Sorkoktani, little Kulan, who was only 6, slaughtered like sheep. The Kaya again numbered 237 souls when the sun rose on the first day. By sunset of the second day, none remained alive below. The Mongols made camp that night among the corpses. They sang songs, drank Iraq, laughed at jokes Çekim couldn't hear but could imagine. Normal men, doing normal things, having finished a normal day's work. Just killing instead of herding. Murder instead of hunting. Genocide instead of gathering. On the 3rd day, they rode west, following the war banners of Hulagu Khan toward Persia and the Caliph's golden cities. Kenbish waited another full day before she moved. They walked north. The old woman moved with the steady, tireless gait of those who'd crossed the steppe 100 times. Çekim followed in silence, his child's legs burning with effort, his child's mind burning with questions he didn't have words for. Why? Why them? Why his mother, his brothers, his little sister who'd never heard anyone? Why? The questions had no answers. The wind didn't care. The sky didn't answer. The gods, if there were gods, were silent as stone. They walked for 8 days. Kenbish set rabbit snares, found water, kept them alive with the grim efficiency of a woman who'd survived worse and would survive this too. On the 9th day, they found the Ka-Borjigin, the people of the Blue Wolf, camped in a valley near Lake Baikal's southern shore. Distant kin, same mother tribe from 3 generations back, still bound by the old laws of hospitality and blood debt. The Khökh-Teneger took them in. Çekim barely spoke for the first year. 13 years later, spring, year of our Lord, 1269. Çekim, 23 summers now, tall as a spear and lean as winter, worked the whetstone down his blade's edge with practiced strokes. The collige had been his own forging, 17 folds of steel, each layer beaten true in the Khökh-Teneger's forge under the watchful eye of old Buck the smith. 17 folds, Buck had said. No more, no less. 16 and the pattern weakens. 18 and the metal grows brittle. 17 is the number. Don't ask me why. It's in the knowing of the hands, not the understanding of the head. Çekim understood the principle through observation. Proper crystalline structure required precise carbon distribution, achieved through iterative folding. The magic of 17 was simply metallurgical optimization, arrived at through centuries of empirical trial. He'd said as much to Buck. The old smith had laughed and called him a clever idiot. "You'll go far, boy," he'd said, "or you'll die young. Men who think like you don't do things halfway." Çekim tested the blade's edge with his finger, sharp enough to split silk dropped across it. Good. He rose from his seat outside his ger, small but well made, positioned at the camp's eastern edge where he could watch the sunrise, and sheathed the killage at his hip. His other weapons hung ready. The composite bow his uncle Jelgai had given him. The knife Kenbish had forged with symbols she claimed were protective. He wore it because it was well balanced, not because of superstition. The short spear favored by steppe warriors for close combat from horseback. He was dressed for travel. Light armor of boiled leather. Wool deal, dyed the dark blue of the Khökh-Teneger. Hair pulled back in the warrior's top knot. Face weathered by sun and wind until he looked older than his years. The Noyan, Jelgai Darkhan, war chief of the Khökh-Teneger, had seen something in the quiet, broken boy his grandmother had brought from the south. Intelligence, yes, but also the cold, focused rage of someone who'd watched everything burn and decided to become very, very good at preventing it from happening again. Teach him, Jelgai had ordered. So they did. The weapons masters taught him the blade, the bow, the spear, the 13 ways to kill a man from horseback, and the 7 ways to kill him on foot. They taught him to ride like he'd been born in the saddle, because he had been, before the world ended and began again. But Jelgai had also seen something else. The boy could think, could speak, could negotiate, could take complex tribal grievances and break them down into logical components, then put them back together into solutions that left everyone feeling heard, even if they didn't get what they wanted. Words are weapons too, Jelgai had said, sharper than steel, longer reach than arrows. You'll learn to wield them. So they brought in scholars, traveling monks from the Buddhist monasteries, Muslim traders from Samarkand and Bukhara, even a Persian tutor who taught him to read and write in Arabic and Farsi, to understand the courtly language of khans and caliphs, to move through the world of diplomacy and intrigue that existed parallel to, and often more deadly than, the world of blades. Later, emissaries from distant Christendom arrived too. Franciscan scholars with worn wool robes and ink-stained fingers, bringing with them Latin texts, maps, and a vision of the world that stretched far beyond the steppes. Çekim learned. He learned because learning gave him control. And control meant never being helpless again. Never watching from hiding while everyone he loved died. Never being too weak, too slow, too ignorant to prevent catastrophe. He became the Khökh-Teneger's voice in negotiations with other tribes, their intermediary with Mongol officials who came demanding tribute, their advocate in disputes over grazing rights, water access, marriage contracts, blood debts. He was good at it. Very good. The Noyan began calling him Kalek, tongue, not as insult, but as title. The man who spoke for the tribe. The man whose words carried the weight of the Khökh-Teneger behind them. At 23, Çekim had become indispensable, which was why what came next made no sense at all. The stars were wrong. Çekim noticed it 3 nights before his grandmother came to him. He'd been on watch. The tribe was camped near Karakorum, the old Mongol capital, negotiating a complex trade agreement involving horses, silk, and safe passage through contested territory. When he'd looked up and seen constellations he didn't recognize. Not different, not moved, just wrong, in a way he couldn't articulate. He'd ask his grandmother about it the next morning. Kenbish had looked at him with eyes still sharp, despite 70-some winters. "You feel it," she'd said. Not a question. "Feel what?" "The thinness." He'd frowned. "Grandmother, I don't. The world grows thin, boy. Old seals weaken. Old doors remember what it was like to be open." She'd gone back to grinding herbs. Always grinding herbs. Always brewing teas that smelled like earth and tasted like soil. Your logic and your learning serve you well. But some things exist outside logic. Some things simply are, whether you understand them or not. Çekim had let it pass. His grandmother had her superstitions. He had his observations. They could coexist. But the feeling didn't go away. And 3 nights later, Kenbish came to his gur after dark, moving with the quiet purpose of someone on a mission. "Walk with me," she'd said. They'd walked to the edge of camp, where the fires faded, and the steppe opened up like a dark sea. She had stopped and turned to face him. "Do you love me, boy?" The question hit like a fist. "Grandmother, answer. More than anything." The words came without thought. Simple truth. She'd saved him, raised him, been his only constant in a world that had proven itself capable of ending without warning. "You know that." She'd nodded, satisfied. "Then hear me. I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to believe me. Your head is too full of logic and learning to make room for what I'm about to say. But you'll do what I ask anyway, because you love me, and because you owe me 13 years of life you wouldn't have had otherwise." Çekim had felt ice in his gut. "What's happening?" Later, she'd said. "First, the Black Gate. You've heard the stories?" He had. Travelers' tales about a ravine 3 days northwest. A stone gate, older than memory, where men walked through and came back changed, or didn't come back at all. Superstition. Myth. It's real, Çekim. Her voice went hard, as real as the blade at your hip. She pressed a leather case into his hands. Clay tablets, symbols. 3 days northwest. Khökh-Teneger. Blue window. When you find it, use these symbols to open it. You'll see a vision. A true seeing of something happening when the gate opens. Her grip tightened. And no matter what that vision shows, no matter how terrible, you will step through. Grandmother, this is madness? Yes. She leaned close. I'm asking anyway. As the woman who hid you in a cave while your family died, as the woman who loves you more than breath. Her eyes were wet. Why? Because if you don't, you'll die here. Soon. Badly. Her voice broke. Men with ambition want you gone. I can't protect you. And you'd never run. So I'm sending you somewhere they can't follow. Çekim stared at his grandmother, who never cried, who'd survived everything. She was terrified. Swear it, she commanded. By your mother's memory, by your brother's bones, by the ash of the Khökh-Teneger. And Çekim, man of logic, warrior of reason, looked into her eyes and saw love beyond measure. She saved my life once. If she says this will save it again, I swear. She sagged with relief, gripped his face. Step through, my boy. Step through and live.